In this video, I'll be comparing two similar products, Essie Gel Couture and Sally Hansen Miracle Gel. Okay, both of these are gel-like nail polishes that claim to be long-wearing and chip-resistant, and both use a two-step application process. 2 coats of color on clean bare nails, followed by 1 layer of top coat for activation. Before we get into the actual comparison, I want to admit that I am biased, or at least when starting this video, I was biased towards the Sally Hansen Miracle Gel products for a couple reasons. First, price. Miracle Gel retails for a few dollars less than Gel Couture, and I think this is a trend with Sally Hansen and Essie in general. Like, Sally Hansen's products tend to be cheaper than Essie's products. I found a larger gap between product lines when I looked for the products at a grocery store in addition to Ulta. Perhaps a little more importantly, I was impressed by the variety of Sally Hansen Miracle Gel. Essie seems to focus more on red, pink, nude, and neutral colors. And when I looked at their products online, I find like the metallic colors like kind of dull. I don't think there's a lot of options that I really enjoy there. But when I'm walking through the supermarket though, the sparkly iridescent cool colors in the Miracle Gel line really kind of caught my attention. On top of that, though both product lines offer clear and matte, like non-shiny top coat options, Miracle Gel offers even more in terms of texture and shine. And what you'll see in this video, I decided to get the unicorn top coat for like extra sparkle and iridescence. What I'm going to do is use each product basically as directed and show you the results over time. Like how long are they going to last before I redo my nails? Now I'm going to say 2 things. My first impression of Gel Couture was, wow, why am I paying more for a product that still streaks when I apply it? Actually, maybe my first impression was more like, oh, this bottle shape is cool, but I don't think it'll store easily with other regularly shaped bottles, which is kind of like a non-issue. Like, I don't have a packed drawer full of nail polish. Like, it's really just a minor aesthetic thing for me. But like, how is this swirl stem brush, which in Essie's words, it's going to ensure precise, generous coverage? Like, how does that work? Why does the top coat have a brush with a regular stem, whereas like the colors have this like swirl stem? I don't know. It was sort of weird. I don't know. And I think the swirl stem, it was kind of harder to find. Like, I think I'm doing this right. You know, when I paint my nails, I try to, find the flat side of the brush, like the wide side, because that, to get as much coverage of the nail bed or the nail plate as possible, right? And so this seemed kind of harder because, like, a lot of brushes for different brands I've used, like, it'll be, like, slightly, the stem of the brush will be, like, slightly wider, leading to that, like, flat. So, whatever. You'll see, I think. Regarding the streaking issue, though, I realized that Miracle Gel also did this for me, and then I realized, like, perhaps this is less of a reflection of the product quality and more about my brush technique. So, like, it's common advice, don't put on thick coats because the manicure can chip faster. Use thin coats so that it will dry faster and also perhaps last longer. But if you swipe too much, well, when I swipe too much off the brush, I get this like streaking and incomplete coverage. So what I'm going to do in this video, instead of swiping with the brush like fully in both directions, I'm going to do one swipe along the stem and then sort of partially swipe the other side of the brush just to catch enough liquid, so I'm not taking like all of it off. Currently, I'm working full-time in a position where I'm typing on a keyboard most of the day. So here I'm going to be doing my nails before the start of my work week, and I'm going to record some of the results after like 1 week, after 2 weeks. So I'm going to start with Sally Hansen and then try the Essie stuff. Actually, here's a sneak peek of what the Essie stuff looks like after 2 weeks. This is color number, it says 344, Scarlet Starlet. Some of the polish was starting to chip and peel, which contributed to a noticeable snagging when I was like washing my hair in the shower, but otherwise it doesn't look that awful. The largest eyesore is the new nail growth, showing the age of the manicure basically. I'm going to use some generic strengthening nail polish remover here. After saturating one cotton ball, I needed a second one to completely remove the nail polish. My nails don't seem too damaged, so I'm just using a nail file with a fine grit to touch up the edges rather than trying to like shorten them with like a more coarser file. One thing I noticed this, not just like for these videos, but also for the whole video, is like manicure videos are hard because I kept like bringing my hands closer to me to focus on them, and then they would come like out of frame. So then I would look at the camera and like bring them back in because I'm like, I'm trying to show you, like, yeah, I want to see what I'm doing, but like, you know, the video's not going to be good if you can't really see what I'm doing with my nails, right? This video is about my nails, right? Anyway, so I'm going to touch up my cuticles next. Here I had this bottle with a brush applicator, so I'm going to brush on the cuticle oil and massage it into my nails and cuticles. I have a bunch of these wooden cuticle pushers, so I'm going to use one to push my cuticles back. It's super tempting to like use force and push down and back and really like, you know, try to scrape up whatever you see. But like, it's important to be gentle to avoid damaging the cuticle because a healthy cuticle kind of ensures like healthy nail growth. And also too much pressure downward on the nail can damage the actual like nail plate. So really just with this sort of thing, like if it starts to hurt, back off. That's like important life skill, right? But before I actually apply any nail polish, I use a makeup wedge to remove residual oils and moisture from my nails. Using a cotton ball for this might leave little wisps behind, and you know, the point is to have like a clean surface that the nail polish can adhere to. I prefer 90% isopropyl alcohol because it's stronger, like it just works a little better, and it dries faster. But I only had 70% while filming this part of the video. So for the sake of consistency, I'm going to use that for both manicures. So I rotate the bottle of nail polish at an angle to help mix up the product because like shaking it can introduce air bubbles, which can lead to a bad manicure, which will like chip faster and blah, blah, blah. But this color I'm using, number 573, Hypnotical, right? I am right-handed, so I typically paint that hand first. Like once I get the difficult part out of the way using my left hand, it's downhill when I, you know, use my right hand to paint my left hand. And okay, here's what I'm talking about. I do this full swipe along the stem and then partially swipe the brush in the other direction. So it's really just like catching the excess rather than really trying to swipe everything off the brush. But I mean, I think there were a few fingers where it seemed like the nail polish sort of started to like pool up on the nails. So I think some of the coats went on kind of thick, which I think might become a little more relevant later when I said about like chipping. I've read some nail painting tutorials which say go from left to right or right to left, but I prefer to do one swipe down the center before doing the sides, and I don't really, you know, care what order, right? You know, like center, left, right, center, right, left. Like, unlike I usually do with conventional nail polishes, I'm not going to wrap the free edge of the nail with these products. I just don't know how that would affect the outcome, and I haven't watched every single tutorial on YouTube about like using these products, but I don't think I've seen people do that. But I, you know, could be wrong. Whatever. After waiting a few minutes, I apply the second coat. After letting that dry for a few minutes, I'm moving on to the top coat. So this is that unicorn top coat. So there's this one point when I'm doing the manicure, when I had this light on and it was circling through all these colors, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be very cool for the video. But I just like turned it off because I was getting a little overstimulated. But anyway, here's the result. So it's really not, I mean, it's not perfect. Like my right ring finger is noticeably incomplete, but this is the best they're going to look without doing everything over. So I'm just going to trust that the stuff on my skin is going to come out through regular like bathing and hand washing. Well, before the first week was over, I already had a chip. My right index finger started splitting, which affected the nail polish. I hadn't had issues with splitting peeling nails since like 2020 and 2021, But after using a nail clipper instead of filing them down in September 2022, like they were really long. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to waste my time filing. I started running into these issues again. So I think the nail clipper was a little rough on the nails, like the pressure it applies. So I'm just going to say, here's a quick tip for going out your nails. Don't use them as tools. Don't use them to open packaging. Don't use them to pierce or tear through things. Like, unless it's an emergency, unless your life is in danger, there's probably time to find a tool. Like, use a knife, use a spoon, a credit card, keys, I don't know. Like, but only use them as a tool, as a last resort, because like that puts physical stress on the nail, which can cause them to break, or at least like weaken them, which can lead to breakage. You'll see what that's like in this video because I don't always heed my own advice. So going into week 2, everything seemed to be holding up well. Like, I decided to experiment by applying some Sally Hansen Hard as Nails nail hardener to the chip nail, like maybe trying to like patch it up. Unfortunately, the adjacent middle finger on my right hand also developed a split, which caused the nail polish to flake off. Also, this bottle of nail hardener is kind of messed up, so I'm going to awkwardly fish out this tiny hair. I don't know where that came from. You can see with the Hard as Nails, I did wrap the free edge of these nails because I was trying to like really seal it, hold everything together. Anyway, here's how the Miracle Gel looks after 2 weeks. Aside from the new nail growth, most of the nails are covered, but my left index finger had some significant chipping. Like, this was, not the one I covered up. So this time I've got brand name Cutex nail polish remover. It's the same like purple strengthening nail polish remover, but everything seemed to come off with one cotton ball. So for the sake of consistency, I'm going to see if this is more or less effective than the generic stuff when removing my Essie manicure at the end of the video. Once everything was off though, I can see some significant damage to my right index and middle fingernails. My nails don't have a super defined shape at this point, so I think I'm going to like turn them into squares. This is simpler than round shapes, which require a certain degree of care to produce like a symmetrical shape. All I really need to do here, hypothetically, is just file straight across the nail edge. And I try to do this like, in one direction. Occasionally I'll reverse direction just to even things out. But I try not to do this sort of sawing back and forth because I've heard that can really like weaken the nails. It took a while though, like it was light out. I mean, it's winter. It was light out and it got dark by the time I finished filing my nails because I really needed to get them, like, I drastically needed to shorten my index and middle fingers to get rid of the breakage. So then I needed to file everything else down a lot to get to a matching length because, again, I didn't want to use clippers. Now that I'm on to the next step, I think it's appropriate to, move somewhere with better lighting. This time, I've got my cuticle oil in a squeeze bottle, which is a bit more, like, generous. Still, I'm doing the same thing here. I'm massaging the oil into my nails and pushing the cuticles back. Also, just in case you're wondering, I was cuddling with my cat earlier and he bit me. Sometimes he's really sweet and other times he's very temperamental. I noticed some traces of nail polish remaining, so I used some more Cutex before cleaning my nails with a makeup wedge and rubbing alcohol. Again, before I get started, I twirl the bottle a little bit to mix everything up. And this is what I'm talking about, where the swirl stem makes it kind of hard to find the flat side of the brush, but whatever. The first coat goes on easily, and after a few minutes, I apply the second coat. About 5 or so minutes later, I apply the glossy top coat. Everything for the most part looks good at this point. Like, whatever ended up on my skin will probably wash off soon. There's this little like membrane or something that grows under my fingernails and it seems to flake off once my nails get to a certain length. But you can see on my left index finger how some of the fragments are visible. Between the first and second coats, the pressure I used with the brush seemed to like displace some of the nail polish, creating these sort of like bald spots on both of my thumbnails. And I'm kind of upset that they're slightly angled, but they look fine from a distance. Okay, like, they were dry, right? They were dry to the touch. They looked fine here. So tell me why, after moisturizing and going to bed, I woke up and noticed these weird little dents on my right ring finger. Like, where did that come from? Other than that, though, I was pleasantly surprised. In the cool fluorescent office lighting, this light blue seemed like not neon, but it stood out in a way I didn't expect. Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is kind of like a boring light blue. And I don't know, it really kind of grew on me. After 1 week, there were some parts where the manicure started to like show its age, but everything was mostly intact. Going into days like 10, 11, and 12, I was tempted to take everything off when I noticed my right middle finger chipping. But time got away from me, so I ended up doing the full 14 days anyway. So at the end of week 2, it's pretty much the same results as with the Miracle Gel. Like, some fingers end up damaged, but the nail polish isn't flaking in a major way for the most part. I was able to remove virtually all of the nail polish with one cotton ball and some Q-Tex. So perhaps Essie isn't like harder to remove, but I was just using like a cheaper, weaker, more dilute nail polish remover the other time. I mean, it seemed like I didn't need to go back to remove any residual stuff, but just that first time, there were some large parts that the one cotton ball didn't remove. So at first I was like, oh, is Essie harder to remove? No, I think I was just using cheap nail polish. One thing I kind of noticed, it seems like when I've used a lot of these products heavily, both the Miracle Gel and the Gel Couture, they don't seem to do like a great job of holding. I thought they would, I was hoping they would, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything to help the nails grow out. Like they were still breaking. So one thing I'm going to do, I am working on using nail treatments and stuff to help grow out my nails to hopefully, a length I'm more comfortable with, because I miss having moderately long nails. So that's going to be something for another video where I'm going to show you parts of that journey, really, because I was disappointed. I was disappointed in just how I had to make them short here. Thank you for watching, though. And, if you like this video, leave a like. If you have any questions, comments, the comment section is open. Don't be mean or whatever. I appreciate constructive criticism. And if you want more of this content, like I don't necessarily just do nails. I don't know if I would call this like educational content, but I want to make sort of like high quality reviews of different things, high enough quality, and the quality of my videos can go on over time. So if you really want to follow this part of my journey of like making these videos or whatever, I would also appreciate if you want to subscribe, feel free to do that. But again, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are in your day.